You know, a lot of y'all are hoping and wishing and trying to make the narcissistic person better. You can't. You can hope and wish and talk to them and pray for them. They have to want it themselves. The key thing to remember is this. I looked at my mother, my father, my grandmother on my mother's side, my grandfather on my mother's side. I don't know my father's parents. They died well before I was born, somewhere in there. But when you do the research on that person's mother and father, rather they tell you about their mother and father, which they might, if they don't, you need to find out. Because what you're hoping for and wishing for to be fixed goes back well over 100, 150, 100, 200 years of people that have not gotten any type of therapy from their past. You expect him to do right, or you expect her to do right based on not being helped from their grandparents, great-grandparents, things that were passed down. They can't do it. You have to pay attention to that. And stop wondering and waiting and wishing and hoping and crying and begging. You know, they have to go back themselves. In therapy, I had to go back to my childhood. My therapist took me back. That's most men, me, was terrified to think about and talk about and discuss my childhood. Terrified. I was a senior leader in the Navy, a Master Chief, an E9, a Command Master Chief, responsible for 42,203 people at the time. I was 46 years old in therapy, and I got into my therapist's office and broke down and cried after weeks of being there, and was terrified of going back and talking about my childhood, that little boy that was touched, molested, bullied, picked on, called names, called stupid by family members. Yeah, sent here, discarded, forgotten about, doubted, put down. I had no self-esteem. I had no confidence. I stopped taking baths. My teeth turned green. This is through all of the abuse and neglect. And I did not realize, okay? I did not realize that I was being abused and neglected until I was 46. Not my parents abusing me and neglecting me. They had their own thing going on. My parents were great parents, right? But I did not even know that I was abused and neglected until I was 46. So the people that I was hurting on my path, that I was abusing and neglected, I didn't even realize. I knew I was hurting people, and I knew it felt good to hurt people, but I didn't associate it with any type of abuse or neglect. And y'all hoping and wishing and praying and going to church, that's cool. But that person has to want to go back into their childhoods, which most of them, the reason why people don't go is because they are afraid of hearing the truth and knowing that they're going to cry, they're going to hurt, they're going to suffer in therapy. And they don't want to do it. So stop thinking that, oh, I can fix them. You can't. They have to want it themselves. If they don't get it, they're going to continue to hurt, abuse, and neglect you. Keep that in mind.